whatever. Thanks for accepting me with my project here, called it Conveniently Yours. I come from Indonesia, and I usually work with my collective called LifePatch, which also we kind of have a continuously collaboration with Bacteria, and this is my collective here. Maybe not so clear there, but we have 11 members with multiple backgrounds and practices that we like to do. And I usually, for my own interest, I like to build synthesizers, of course, electronics. And a lot of these things that I built is basically involving accessible technologies, basically. And this is like a synthesizer that we developed between Mark, the sailor over there, me, and Iyo, also Urs, and kind of open source synthesizer that's based on a Tiny 85 microcontroller, quite cheap, it's $1. And I kind of like this kind of possible collaboration that is keep on going. We have been working for this synthesizer for 3 years. I have it here now, small. And I also like to build instruments. This is instruments that I built with Wukir Suryadi, maybe part of Senyawa, the performance that in National Gallery of Indonesia. And what I'm proposing in this project is basically a very simple practices that you go to grocery store or any convenience store that's around you and find possible other use from chemicals or products that's available in your grocery store. This is hair coloring. You have the hydrogen peroxide basically there, and you can use it for cleaning your old plastic of computer. You put it in your old plastic, and then you put it on the sun, and then you get this clean plastic back again into their normal colors. Another example is this kajuput oil, and this is kind of more local of Indonesian product. It's an oil from wood, basically, kajuput oil. And it's pure organic, but it can use for removing permanent marker, also cleaning PCBs, or Mac, or whatever. And the best thing that I really like is this mosquito repellent lotion. So you don't catch a mosquito. There's a lot of mosquito in Indonesia. And you use it for cleaning your PCB, and also tone transfer method. So somehow in this mosquito repellent, you put it after you put the paper, it helps the paint to stick on the copper. Somehow this method is very popular in Indonesia, and I tried it and it works perfectly. And now it's these two things, the that one, the right one, and the kajuput oil is kind of like a must-have for my lab in Indonesia. So this kind of thing that I'm proposing for Medela Prado, the Interactivos project, is kind of like an experiment that also involving like citizen activism. And for example, this is a very common news in Indonesia that you mix this autan, the mosquito repellent, into drinks. And this is that, I think this will be the limitation of the project, that the products that you hack or trying to experiment from the grocery store is not something that you consume, because it's already obvious. You mix drinks with mosquito repellent and you die. But it's also it's also possible that you kind of make this awareness of documentation of what happened if you consume this stuff, or just to gather some of the cases that's already happened in the past. This is also a mixed drink with mosquito repellent again in coffee shop called I Love You Full. 4 died. very common in Indonesia. But also I think that we have some, I would like to have a little bit of a loose end, where you can also try to make your own fermentation, for example, from a starter, from the commercial starter, because there's a lot of commercial starter that you can use for using to grow your own yogurt and etc. Again, this is another example. It's a myth. In Indonesia, we have like this eye drop, and you put it. A lot of young people put it to make women. What do you call it? I don't know the English. Like, yeah. So when the girls go and then they put it this fire thing, and then they drink it and they more that thing. This is a myth. It's growing all that in between the youngsters, and there's someone who make these articles, which is I think is very helpful. That it's kind of dangerous when you put it. There's making your heart slower, the difficulty of breathing, seizure, and blah 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 blah. So I would like to in this project I would like to have a documentation procedure, even though the experimental part is quite loose, but we documented this thing. This is where I think in my project I would like to really have a help from the chemical expert, especially. And I'm not gonna touch. In this project, we're not going to touch like what obvious is obvious. This guy is also sniffing glue, so we're going to skip that part. That is quite obvious that you're getting high on things with glue, sniffing glue, whatever. And it's not also just a product, also kind of like a hardware. This is a project that I did with Amy Uda over there. Is mirror hacking. It's very simple that you remove the back end of the mirror, and somehow the glass is semi-transparent and semi-reflectable. So if you see this shape, it's actually like this. It's quite a simple hack, and I like this kind of, you use these local materials for your also creative practices. This is what's part of the aim of the project that I would like to propose. And I like to work with people, and I like to have this kind of, this is a workshop that I did with, when I was invited to help to have a workshop with women 12 years old to 15 years old, because the decreasing interest of them in science. And I have to give workshop basically from art practice to kind of help them to be interested in science. And I kind of like making this loose end of how they develop themselves. And this kind of workshop strategy to kind of start a conversation and creative brainstorming together. So in my project, I'm gonna have a lot of pop-up workshop, similar to what I have been done in 2014, where me and Mark is co-directing Hacktheory Lab 2014. We figure out that the best control is to have no control, or a small control. It's kind of to facilitate people to be able to kind of have the freedom to engage in the topic that we kind of set up in the beginning. So this is probably just the project that I am proposing. Thanks.
Can you explain a little bit about the collaborators you may be needing?
Sorry?
The collaborators you need, the profile of the collaborators you need.
Collaborators profile probably just like very open to anyone that would like to experiment. I think in the start that we can experiment with something that's already be online. There's some people and kind of trying to see if it's true or not, like the eye drop. And it's open to basically anyone that would like to learn and to experiment with this issue of accessible products in your neighborhood. So.
Questions, comments?
Yeah, also to that idea of a collaborator, when your project is very much about using local knowledge also. How do you think, I think you need collaborators that speak Spanish, huh?
That's, I think, yeah.
So we can go into a store and find out these, maybe little stories, and also talk to maybe some people on the streets if they have stories about how to reuse certain, commercial available goods. But how do you start with your project the next couple of days? What's the first thing you're going to do? What is the first thing you're going to do the first days?
The first thing is I would like to have a brainstorming on this kind of topic first, and then we kind of figure out which direction that we wanted, which products that we want to select, and then start this. Based from that, we start on experimenting in which we want to discover.
Okay, so thank you very much.